Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sea of Souls, our live stream Dungeons and Dragons campaign. This is episode 60, 60. We did 60. That's kind of nuts. It's kind of blown my mind a bit that we are 60, and it only took 60 episodes to introduce the second part of D&D, which is the dragons.
Hopefully,
So
when we get to episode 120, we'll go into a dungeon.
There we go. Yeah, you've seen it last Dungeons. Come on. But yes, episode 60. We're gonna jump right in. We left off on a cliffhanger last time, and we got lots to get into. So, episode 60. In the mysterious depths beneath the lighthouse on Torque's old island that he spent a decade or so on, he found an ancient sunken temple adorned with draconic icons and symbolism. Upon reaching the top of the steps of this stepped pyramid, standing before a gaping dark entrance, you found the source of the rumblings that you'd felt on the island's surface as you were exploring the exterior of the lighthouse. A subsonic growl emanates from deep within, and a creature of legend, a dragon, emerges, one giant claw first, and its snout just barely peeking out. Dragon calling himself Bronag, which we'll shorten to Bronag for pronunciation purposes. After a short conversation with Dinar and Draconic, the dragon summons you to enter, and you get the feeling that this isn't necessarily a invitation, but more like a "you better come with me."
He's making an offer we can't refuse.
We have been summoned.
It'll be the last offer we ever do refuse.
Standing at the top of these stairs, at the entrance to this old draconic temple, you see the darkness within. The dragon has pulled himself back and has called you to enter. What do you do?
We discussed it.
So, hot take here, fellows. I say we listen to the giant fire-breathing monster that can roast us alive.
I don't know if he's so much the roasting type as the
Hey, Dinar?
acid type, but yes.
Hey, you know what? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but fire and acid will kill me just the same.
You're not wrong about that.
Or painfully.
Torque is just already walking in.
I was going to say, Dinar's doing this while he's walking in.
Both are horrible and painful, and I'd rather experience neither.
Okay. So
don't worry, he doesn't breathe fire. It's just horrible acid.
Both burn. You begin walking into this ancient temple, crossing the thresholds underneath the dragon head, kind of mounted on the archway. You hear a rumble from deep within. And the first thing that strikes you is the emptiness immediately beyond the entryway. It seems like this place was once meant to be filled with vibrancy and life. People coming and going, even in the dim light kind of coming from outside. And as you enter, there's little bits of kind of magical, that blue light, from sconces on the walls here and there. You can see like a couple of shattered pots and an upturned table, tatters on the wall. This place was probably once filled with worshipers and people coming back and forth and just lots of activity going on, but there's a hollowness and emptiness to it. Everything just feels empty and dead. Your footsteps echo off of the stones.
Be clear, this would be dragon worshippers?
Possibly.
Okay.
You're not sure at this point. This entry chamber is massive. The other thing that strikes you is the lack of pillars, giving room enough in the center of this hallway for a creature the size of an ancient dragon to be able to dwell within without knocking things down. How the ceiling is held up is somewhat of an architectural mystery, as you don't see any support, but it is quite high, a good 80 to 100 feet above you, arching. The entire thing covered in frescoes of imagery, all kinds of different dragons. There's ancient draconic script just everywhere. At the far
As someone
end,
who can read Draconic, what exactly does it say? Or is it like one of those like old English like dialects where like the language has evolved so much that it's like not even comparable to the modern version?
I think that's what we learned last time. Yeah, was that even though it was draconic.
Oh, right.
I think you and I had determined like it's not something we can read, but we recognize that it is a form of the language that we know.
From what you understand, like this place is, and from what Barnak had said as well, like this is thousands upon thousands of years old. This place from the deep past.
So like proto Draconic almost.
Yeah, you can make out like similar script and stuff. You can get. Give me a history check. I'll say.
Certainly.
May I as well?
Or if one of you wants to roll with advantage, or both of you can you both know Draconic.
I think that you have a higher intelligence than me, Dinar, so I'll give you advantage.
Well,
Okay.
While the two of them are puzzling it over, Flix can go over and put his hand on the wall so that he can use his comprehend languages that he had cast on himself last week to just read it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I suppose that's still active.
Well,
You're all crazy.
I have a +8 in history, but I only rolled a 10, so a total of 18 for history for Dinar.
You make an 18 sound like it's miserable.
Well, sorry, we played Pathfinder last week.
Pathfinder
18.
anymore.
I was gonna say 18 wasn't enough last week, so
That's right.
I'm getting my games
18's
confused.
18's good. 18's decent.
18 is good, it's true.
Torque, did you roll as well?
No, I was just going to provide Dinar with a help action.
Okay.
Yeah, I rolled with advantage.
Okay, and then Flick, you were going to use comprehend languages.
Yep.
Okay.
As long as I can touch the surface.
I mean, this is a long shot if I've ever done one, but hey, you lose all the shots you don't take. Is it possible that at any point I may have read even a fantastical mythological text about dragons or dragon worshipping in the past that I might glean some nugget, some little sliver of information that might prove useful?
Given where you received most of your education in the temple, I'd say likely not. I mean, there might have been like an occasional like fable,
like references, but that's like
but the reality of current day Eudora, especially the Broken Isles, is that much of that history, like information about dragons, legends about dragons, are lost. That's why they're so mythological, right? That's like there's that kind of understanding that they did exist, but beyond that, not too many people know much, and those who do know probably keep it.
But on the other side, did I learn anything that is very incorrect, but I might believe to be true?
I'd say probably that the typical like all dragons are evil, they eat people. If you don't, like things like that, all the magical properties about dragons.
Okay, so I am absolutely terrified right now
for treasure and that part you would know that definitely any part of a dragon that can be used, such as the dragon scales that the average spire was interested in, they do have very powerful innate arcane properties. So there's a lot of ritualistic stuff around that, a lot of arcane lore tied to them. But as far as historical information or fact, there's really not much existing in
Okay.
amongst the general populace. Yeah.
So me being barely able to move because I'm so terrified is pretty on point. Sounds good.
Cool. Yeah, I'd say that fits. Yeah.
I'm just gonna
So-
be flabbergasted that the three of you are even bothering to do anything, and you aren't like saying prayers to whatever gods will listen at this point. Like,
Well, to
gonna look at you
Dinar,
guys like,
Yeah.
to Dinar, this dragon is as close to a god as he's ever known.
It's true.
And
On that note,
Torque doesn't think that his god will be much help in this situation.
so on that note, Dinar,
Mm-hmm.
most of what you pick up is incomprehensible.
Okay.
It's so archaic that it's like trying to read like cuneiform as an
Oh,
English
geez.
speaker, right? Like it's you understand that there's letters and words, but you do see the roots of some current language. And you pick up two very significant words, not really words. The way that Draconic works, especially ancient Draconic, is that a symbol, much like some languages, still like one symbol is a word.
Like a Mandarin
In
or
and of
Cantonese, yeah.
Yeah, like it's all encapsulated like within a symbol, and you're pretty certain that you see both the symbol for Verthin, the astral dragon, the patron god of dragonborn dragons, all
Mhm.
dragonkin, and pretty much like connected with it, seeming the two going together. You see this pattern repeated a couple times. Torpal, who is the anathema to Verthin, the evil goddess of dragonkind.
Mm.
But in the depictions that you see here, there's no sense of evil or a disjunction between the two. They seem to be presented together as a pair.
Interesting.
The other thing that you pick up is it might be Bronag's name, like or a variation of it. You can see kind of the lettering that might indicate that this would be a lair or a temple specific to a dragon operating under the two main dragon gods. So those three names kind of stick out. Most of what else you see doesn't make too much sense.
Okay. Maybe you've already answered the question and I'm just not reading enough into it. Is Dinar aware of a time where Verathun and Torpal would have been together? Like, was there an event that I know in the past where that there was a divide? Or is this like shocking to me?
Given your knowledge of like before the first age, no.
So this is very unorthodox to see
Yes.
them together. Okay.
As far as Dragonborn are concerned, like Torpal is evil and always has been, and she's like the enemy of your people. Like Barnard.
Okay.
So seeing the two names together is definitely unusual. Yeah.
All right. I don't think Dinar, maybe quickly to Torque in Draconic, but he might not understand the implications of it. Dinar's not going to discuss that information at length with everybody.
Okay. Flick,
Yeah.
you're able to piece together that this indeed is not necessarily a temple, more like a palace for Bronag Flacht. So this was like he wasn't worshipped as a god, but he ruled as a high figure, a king, sort of very, very powerful entity. And so this it is very temple in form, but a lot of the words you're reading here They speak of his might, his glory, his greatness, his kindness, his mercy, that he is a just and benevolent dragon. And there are words that don't make any sense to you. References to items and places that don't mean anything. They're just like,
I can pick out proper nouns and go, yep, that's a name of something, but no
like,
idea what it is.
It's like a doodad and a wallet in your pocket, and it's like
person, place, or thing. I gotcha.
It's full on Dr. Seuss, where you're looking at that and you're like, that's describing something. Don't know what it is. You do also see, or you're able to read, essentially a full description, or it reads sort of like as a prayer to Verithyn and Torpal, who are worshipped together, both as the divine pair. Like, they are seen as good. They're seen as the divine creators of all dragon kind. That they are truth and wisdom and benevolence and love and compassion and all these things. Like, they very much are presented here as essentially like a couple, right? Like, they are the father and mother of dragonkind, and they're both seen as
now
good.
is I guess the one question is there any like familial, like direct familial relationship between them and Uncle B here, or is he just sort of a being a dragon, he's a descendant but not a direct line, like it's not like their son or anything?
No, yeah, like it's not that he's like, the prince god of dragons, but just one of many powerful dragons of the ancient past. So he's actually listed as, or referred to as, a servant of them, even though he's a king in all rights. He's still a servant of Verithyn and Torpal. Yeah.
And this is like his summer home, palatial retreat thing where he gets waited on hand and foot, yada, yada, yada. Here's the serving instructions for all the food and the dancers. And yeah, it's all here. I can sound out some of the big words for you if you need me to, D.
One thing that you do find as well, again, the references don't make much sense. Like even the names of the months are different. What you're reading, the years as they're listed as the reign of Bronag, or the reign of a different, or the length of a kingdom. It's not necessarily like a universal, this is the age of the world kind of thing.
So this might have been like pre-deluge,
but this is like first age. We're talking like the beginning of Eudora, like way distant past. But the dates encompass at least 2,000 or 3,000 years, give or take, that this place was functioning, that Bernag ruled here. That's all encompassed in writing, just spanning across frescoes. Like, different frescoes show different periods of time, kind of chronologically as they pass through. So he was actively ruling here for thousands of years before anything that you could even have read about.
Huh. Neat. So he's been here a while. And is there a way to know, like, is it arranged chronologically? Like, can we find the last entry to find, or is it all just sort of decorative?
So oddly enough, what would be sort of the last fresco, or the last stele, which has the information kind of chronologically, is just scratched complete. It's just got deep claw marks, just like gouged through it, ripped apart. Yeah.
Good old censorship.
You are not agreeing with propaganda.
You get more the sense of like lashing out in rage at something that took place, possibly. But
I don't mind a little propaganda. I take a propaganda every time I see a nice meal or
Yes, propaganda is when a goose is wearing a top hat.
Yes.
When a Brett takes a good look at something. All right. It's probably been a few minutes. I'd say you guys are kind of standing here or whatever, and you realize that you don't
Aelin
hear
is shifting very uncomfortably.
the dragon. All you see at the end of this hallway is a surprisingly small door. Still larger than like your size, probably a good like 20 feet wide and high, like a big arch. But definitely not big enough for a dragon of his size to fit through, and yet he is not there.
Concerning.
All right. Well, let's not keep Uncle B waiting. Let's go
I
see what he
agree.
wants,
Let's move. Yes.
Yeah.
You first, Dinar.
Yep, Dinar will lead the pack.
Torque will stay close to the captain.
Okay.
And I'll sort of lean into Tail and try and loosen him up just a bit.
Loosen who up?
You.
Who needs loosening up? I don't need loosening up. I'm perfect.
Yeah.
I'm reacting perfectly normally to this situation. You all are crazy. It's
It'll be
Big
fine.
Head all over again. I don't think you guys understand what's happening. Guess that's what I get for being the human of the group. I'm the only one with perspective. Everything is more powerful than me and wants to kill me.
That's one way to look at it. Moving into the room beyond, you find yourself in sort of an antechamber that has multiple doorways kind of surrounding it, most of which seem to be collapsed. It's likely that this place, given the shifting of the world, the deluge itself, however much time has passed, you doubt that the entirety of this structure is actually intact. And it seems that a lot of things have been blocked off or just destroyed completely. There is a spiraling stairway leading down directly in the center of the chamber. And there is a faint flicker of torchlight or firelight coming from below. And that seems to be the only avenue that is open to you.
All right. Well, Dinar will take a look back at the group and then start to follow that path.
Okay. Much like the entry chamber, the walls along this descending staircase seem to show different events, depict different scenes. Most of this, however, has been scraped, not clawed, but just scraped off by something moving past it. And I'd say Dinar, you can probably get the sense looking at it that large scales passing down this would have that effect of just kind of wearing it smooth, almost like sanding it down over time. And it's been sanded down for thousands of years. Like this has taken place way in the past. The little that you can make out seems to depict some sort of ritual taking place. Give me a religion check.
Sure.
Just you, just Dinar.
Okay. That's 4. On a 4 is 8.
Okay. Something about this is familiar, and you're trying to recall, your lessons back in your homeland of Jakar. It's just maybe you're just overwhelmed with information right now, but it's not coming through. But you know there's some significance here. You just can't put a finger on it.
Some kind of
As you just
ritualistic significance?
Yeah.
Okay.
And religious import. Like there's definitely something. Whereas the temple above was more of a palace, more of a, this is where he would have kind of ruled from, where he would have held court, that kind of idea. Descending down here seems to move more into temple function, more into ritual religious function. Sort of the deeper that you go, it serves less of a political function and moves more into that kind of deific purpose. The stairway continues down for what you gather actually as you reach the bottom. It probably is just a little bit, you're just a little bit lower now than where you started at the base of the temple. So you've kind of descended that, where you walked up to the top, you've kind of descended that length and a bit extra down. So getting the feeling that you all have a good enough sense, I think, of you've been in enough dungeons. You're in a dungeon, okay? That you're kind of this, if this was a sort of step pyramid, that you are descending right into the sort of the base of it, the heart of it, wherever that would be. If this was like sitting on a flat plane, you'd basically be back down on ground level and then kind of going back down, like right at the very core of this pyramid structure. You can hear the dripping of water. You can feel a little bit more moisture in the air. And again, you remember that when you entered this place, there was a significant amount of water that had pooled and seemed to be flowing in from somewhere. This was seawater. The water in here is not seawater, though. It actually seems to be fresh water. And so it actually seems to be from a different source, but there is that kind of dampness minus the salinity as you descend these stairs.
Like, drink it.
Drink what?
Drink it. I don't know if that's such a good idea.
It's too clean for Flick's liking.
Probably got dragon pee in it. I don't know.
As the stairs reach sort of a landing, there are, again, multiple passages that in the past would have led off deeper into the depths of this temple. They're all collapsed. The only avenue left to at this point are two stairwells now. Sort of, they look to be sort of, what's that? Hatchback, crossback, switchback?
Switchback, yes.
Switchback. Like you can see they go down a little bit and then go down a little bit further. These ones definitely too small for anything larger than like medium-sized creature. Like this is meant for humanoids to descend. This is not meant for dragons to walk down here. And you can see, even as you kind of peek over, that they kind of like meet. Like they kind of do one of these things where they go like this, and then they just kind of go down together. So it doesn't really seem to matter which one you pick. It's kind of like a left or right. They seem to connect below you.
We'll go left.
You
Okay.
can't go wrong if you always go right.
The captain
Always go
said
left.
we go left.
Always
Yeah,
left.
well,
Okay.
it's always to the east.
You finally reach the bottom after what seems like quite a while of descending. And there's a small shrine. Lights on the walls, kind of everlit torches. They come to light as you come into this place. There's a small shrine with 4 pedestals. 3 of them are empty. And sitting on one is a very strange idol or statuette that appears to be not dragonborn, but half dragon, half humanoid. It's sort of a different. Like it's got the wings of a dragon, but it's got the face of a person, the legs of a dragon, the arms of a person. So it's sort of a hybrid type depiction. Very strange. Nothing like you've ever seen before. Even you, Dinar, like you've never seen anything like this. And and it seems to be set into this pedestal. Like it's not sitting on it, but it's like anchored into it, like it's sort of adorning the top, like a cap of a pillar. Doors to either side of this small shrine lead through a couple of maze-like chambers, and you can hear beyond that low kind of breathing growl indicating that you have found Bronag.
Is he still a dragon?
Well,
I mean, yeah.
Well,
as you come out into a chamber filled with water, you find yourself standing on a semicircular platform. A very small bridge to a little bit of a smaller circular platform covered in runes that are glowing, and in the center of which resides the dragon.
He's a big boy.
I wasn't sure.
It's one of those things where the token just doesn't do justice to exactly how big this thing is. Like,
yeah, his tail reaches the wall.
Yeah.
I gotta say, the token is accurate to that portion of his body.
Yes.
Now,
somehow, despite this massive space, he manages to make it look claustrophobic.
You see him in full now. And what you see might be surprising, given the limited amount of information that you have about dragons. There are certain things about their mythology that are constant. The giant wings, the girth, the long tail. Bronag has no wings. And he is in fact missing his front right leg. And you can see where there's just a sear mark, long, scarred, and healed over. No wings, and his tail actually kind of ends in a stub as well. It's still quite long and reaches very far, but you can tell that it's not its full length. There's a spot where it just kind of stops, and you can see just tons of scars and damage marks crisscrossing his body. His scales are just covered in wounds of various types. And he seems belabored in breathing and kind of holding himself up. He kind of rests, like he's got his one front arm kind of leaning down, and he's kind of propping himself up with it as he rests on this dais here.
May I ask a perception question?
Sure.
Is it that he has no wings, or that they've, similar to the arm, they have been removed?
I had a similar thought, yeah. Do you see any remnants?
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
That's a good question.
I don't know if this will matter, but I'm curious. I personally would like to know. As this is sight-based, I will have advantage. 29.
You don't see any musculature, any bone structure that would account for wings. There's
Interesting.
There's no sign that there's no shoulder blade wings popping out. Like there's no sign that he ever
no
had.
Scarring or anything else.
Not that you can tell. I mean, he's scarred.
Sure, but no specific two spots where you would expect there to be wings.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's nothing that you can see that would indicate that he did have wings at any point. As you enter this space, he doesn't really respond for a second. He just kind of It's been a long time since anyone, myself included, has been in this chamber. But I find it more comfortable
to entertain you here. The water is soothing.
And you can see that it does swirl just slightly kind of around the pedestal or the dais, and there is sort of a faint aura coming up off of it. Almost like a healing aura, or even just a comforting aura of some sort that he seems to be bathing in. This is in Draconic, by the way, so only Dinar.
Yeah, I have no idea what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll translate for you, buddy.
All right.
Assuming it hasn't been more than an hour.
No, you're probably getting close to that, but yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
So, what brings you down here? How did you find me? Why have you come? Don't worry, I'm not going to eat you.
Told ya. He's a nice guy, I promise. All the writing on all the publicity outside said so he's fine.
Torque, I think you can answer this question.
What led
We
us
shouldn't
here?
mention that this is your island in any sense.
What led us here was perhaps somewhat of a long story, and I don't seek to bore you with the details, but what I will say is that we found a tunnel leading down to this place from the lighthouse on the island surface.
I know of no lighthouse. That would explain the water outside, though. We are at sea.
How,
Interesting.
forgive the intrusive question, but
Mm-hmm.
how long exactly have you been down here?
I'm not familiar with the year or the age that you mentioned above, little dragon.
He kind of nods at Dinar there.
But it has been at least give or take 10,000 years. 12 maybe. I stopped counting a long time ago.
And when was the last time you had a visitor? Anybody from above?
Probably about 1,000 years, give or take.
So the last time...
Servants of an evil dragon sought to capture my essence for their foul purposes. They failed.
One side note before Dinar answers that. If it's the year 865 of the Common Era, 1,000 years ago would put Bronag's last visitors pre-deluge?
Correct.
Wow. I suppose that makes sense given that he is not aware that he's under an island in the sea.
That would also mean that whoever visited him probably doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Unless we're told otherwise.
The mention of evil seeking him out. Do you know the name of the master that these visitors served? That were seeking to steal your essence?
Zalathar, the Dracolich.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
He tried to bring about a cataclysm of his own with the help of a god whose name I don't remember.
Wouldn't happen to have been Umbra, was it?
Yes, that is.
Wow, what a shock.
Yes. Umbra. I remember him now. I remember him before. That doesn't matter, though. That is not why you came.
Well, no. Dinar's going to take a quick look around the group, because Dinar's been known to spill the beans far too quickly in the past.
Just a bit.
No.
Don't tell him the bit about us working for Umbra right now. That's bad.
Maybe don't mention that.
Hork is just gonna like narrow his eyes and be like, slowly shake his head.
I hate to break this news to you, but
Oh, here we go.
the fact that you didn't know that you were underneath the sea and that your last visitors serving Umbra were 1,000 years ago might actually mean that they were successful in their mission, because there was a great cataclysm around that time. It took centuries for people to get reestablished before modern history began. However, that's still not answering the question. There is something new that is looking to threaten our existence above. It is not Umbra. It is a being known as Triskades.
You watch his eyes just grow, and he leans in.
What did you say?
Dinar will immediately take a knee in an attitude of reverence.
That name. Say it again.
Oh, you don't like Triscuits, huh?
Triskades.
Go on.
Seems that we have a shared enemy based on your reaction.
Yeah.
He is not new. He is old. His kind is old. We fought them eons ago. They're back. One still lives. How can this be?
Yeah.
Impossible.
We're not exactly sure how he's gaining a foothold in this world. But he is. And his influence is growing. And we are on the warpath against him.
You see strength almost kind of leave his body as he seems sag a little bit.
Painful memories. You see me as I am now. These many wounds that I bear. We fought those who came from the void, seeking to drain this world of its power. Many of us died. The world died, more or less. The shell of of a world you live on now is not all there once was. He has returned to finish the job, I think. This brings me sorrow.
I mean, if you did it once,
Well, yeah. How did you defeat him last time?
We broke the weave.
that'll do it. I assume.
Weave singular?
Yes. There was once one. We thought that cutting them off from its power, from its source, would starve them. We were wrong. But completely by accident, it worked in expelling them. Chaos erupted, tore the world, tore apart order, tore apart good and evil. Reality itself split at the seams. And in the midst of the chaos, these creatures of the void drank in the power, consumed it, unable to stop themselves. It was their undoing, but it was also ours. I am sorry.
Well, even if it undid the world, I can tell you until recently the world has been somewhat in order.
Sure.
Whatever you did temporarily the last 850 some odd years has been a success. But I guess it wasn't permanent.
Nothing ever is.
It figures that it would last just long enough for it to be happening when I'm around. 850 years, I didn't have any stake in this, and now it just happens to be when it's me. Oh, goody.
Well, Bert was repelled once. At least we know it's possible. Maybe not by the same means as before, but
I was going to say, that seems like a last resort type of option. But something tells me that was the previous last resort option.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
And it didn't even really work, right?
No.
Well, hey, look, if it expels him for another 150 years, he won't be our problem for at least,
See him stand up on all
geez.
three legs and kind of stretch a little bit.
Dinar,
Yeah.
if you could perhaps ask a question in a much nicer way than I could ever possibly manage to do, using your language. I'm a little curious as to why Umbra was interested in creating a cataclysm and may be willing or interested in doing so again.
It's a fair question.
That doesn't seem like that a god would have much stake in the world being, destroyed, as it were, drained.
Forces of evil have their reasons. I'll ask.
I'd
though.
like to know what they are.
Helps us stop them if we know what they want.
Yeah, exactly. And even if we can't stop them, we might be able to at least throw a monkey wrench into their plans long enough for us to figure out how to stop them.
Offer them an alternative.
Or that. Sure. Yeah.
I'm all about the negotiations, man.
Mm-hmm.
Bernard, do you have any idea why the last time around Umbra was seeking a cataclysm?
He wanted all life to become unlife.
An army of the undead.
An empire of shadow. A world.
That would certainly do it.
Would that
Ralathar, the
spoil the broth? Like,
yeah,
be a world that is no longer tasty for Triscuits to eat? Was that the goal or what?
No. Just selfish, evil ambition.
quick lore
Hatred
question.
for things that live.
Yeah, on that, I understand how astral plane deities, worshippers, power levels, all that stuff works traditionally. Is that, I think we've had this discussion, but I'm curious as to a deity of the undeath. If they were to create the entire world in undeath, then if it was mindless undead, then they don't, does that count as worshippers? Like, would they still be worshipped at that point? Or is it more so that they are just lord of, or would it be more of a like acquisition type thing where it's like, now I have this army and then I can go to another world and do things with this army?
Go ahead, and if Talon is pondering this, give me a religion check.
I'm certainly pondering. But I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to this religion
You're a little
stuff.
bit terrified at the moment, so
Yeah.
Memory fails you, but I mean, it would definitely make him. You don't need to be a scholar to understand that it would make him very powerful.
Oh, I mean, that's
right,
sure.
like,
yeah, I mean, he would definitely be very powerful. I'm just on a meta level. I'm very, very curious.
Dinar, I'm trying to remember if it's already been said. But Dinar will address Bronag again. Were Umbra and Triscades working together the last time?
No.
Interesting.
This was before the fall of the gods. This was before the veil was put in place. Umbra was good. They all were good. At least pragmatic.
Right.
But when the weave broke, when order itself broke, not even the gods were spared. Connected as they are to this world, it affected us all. Dragon, Titan, God, mortal, none were spared.
How exactly did you break the weave?
I don't think I could explain that even if I tried.
I was just gonna say, I'm not sure. I think that might be beyond us, Dinar.
Fair.
You can't explain, or you won't.
Ooh.
Can't.
Can you at least tell us who broke the weave? Maybe not by name, but was it a dragon? Was it a titan? Was it a god?
Yes.
Was it immortal?
It was.
I was gonna say.
So it was a team.
Yes.
So dragons, gods, and titans had to work together to stop Triscades. That's some good news right there. That is
to stop all of them.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, where exactly does Triscades fall?
Well, let's make it a scale of 1 to 13. Let's
Yes, he is the 13th. There
I know
were.
more.
He's the big
And
bad.
this is a number 1 is the big guy, or number high and number 13 is the big guy.
I don't know where his power lies now, but he was. I don't want to say at the bottom of the list, but he was not the
Okay.
firstborn of the void.
Okay. Well, that's reassuring, at least, you know.
That's
So
reassuring.
basically, what you're saying is that Triscuit is the bottom feeder who's coming back for the dregs of what they left behind.
He's ambitious. He's trying to work his way up the totem pole by proving himself capable of doing great things.
Tayland, that's bad news. That means there are 12 more heinous than Triskades out there.
Well, look, Dinar, there's always
Well,
a bigger fish.
As
The
far as
question
we're
is
aware,
the question is whether or not the fish currently trying to eat you is the biggest.
yes, as far as we're aware, the other 12 don't seem to have any interest in us. So,
Oh, I wouldn't say that. I think it's more of a
They are dead.
oh snap. Okay.
well, there you go.
At least most of them. I would assume that if he is here alone, then the others all died.
So you're telling me that they can be killed?
Well, removed from existence permanently. A little bit. Yes, they can die. All things can. In one way or another.
Entropy is a hell of a thing. I have so many freaking questions. Oh my god.
Same. I'm trying to figure out.
Watches his eat for a moment. He kind of like, you see him, his whole body kind of shivering. He's like, "Ugh."
Are you all right over there?
Should I offer him a drink?
I am here but not here.
Oh boy.
As a result of, well, what we did. I am torn between the void and here. I have managed to resist its pull, more or less. But with each passing year, decade, millennia, I find myself less able. I know that my fate is inevitable and I will enter the void for whatever awaits me there. But you four are touched by it too. I can smell it.
We have been working pretty hard.
No, chaos
Yeah.
flows off of you, runs through you. You reek of it.
Mostly
I
Flick.
embody it.
Mostly Flick. Yes, the chaos has been, let's say, breaking into our world in interesting ways lately. It is starting to affect the residents. Makes me wonder if that is why you are feeling the way that you are feeling as time passes. Closer Triskades comes to fruition in this world, the more it affects your well-being. Perhaps.
Maybe it's something simpler, like our presence is bad for him.
That's a possibility too.
Oh, let's not announce the dragon that we're cancerous to him.
No.
We'll leave.
Otherwise,
I'm
he might
cool with
decide
that.
to take surgical
We are
measures.
we are the same, is what I am saying.
You are fractured as well.
That is a way to put it. I have not heard this term, but yes, I have succumbed to the chaos. That weave, it is born of the void. You see, when we broke the Orduan, the weave, the great weave, there was a moment, just a moment, that allowed something to take its place or try to. Another weave from elsewhere. The void. It slipped in. Before we realized it was too late. We bound them together, the two. Interwove them. That's all we could do. But it would seem that it is unraveling now. Hopefully, the Orduan wins out in the end. Everything we are and know is finished. The void will win. They will win. And not even the gods will be spared.
Oh.
An invasive species trying to usurp the niche of one that is on the decline.
And is there anything that they could do for us? Surely they don't want this.
They are trapped behind the veil. The veil was our punishment. Even the gods answer to one higher.
Right.
Because of our interference, because we broke the world. There were consequences.
Well, that's good to know. But if Umbra's working with Triscades, isn't that treason?
Afraid the one who made the veil has long gone.
And the other gods can do nothing but Umbra? Or this whole thing has always confused me. Dinar,
Yes.
do you know anything about any of this stuff? Or maybe Torque? I assume Flick knows nothing about gods.
Oh, I know about lots of gods.
I mean, Torque's
Yes, but
knowledge of God seems to be rather specialized, but I could hazard a check.
Yeah, Dinar's not trained in
I'm-
religion.
I'm not so hot
We
on the
can go.
religion
We can
right
go
now.
group religion check if you want here, or even history,
History,
I've
I
got
can.
five.
Yeah.
or even Arcana. I'd say
I need to know how the
all
cosmos
three-
works to formulate my
all three
questions.
would cover different aspects of cosmology. I'd say.
I'll try a religion check. I do have a +5 to it.
That's better than me.
Flick, do you want to go Arcana and I'll go
Oh.
History?
Sure.
Well, that was a nat 20.
Works.
So
Yeah, let's do it.
maybe Torque knows more than he thought.
I rolled a 19.
Torque
Plus,
did carry a spark of a god. I mean, it's got to count for something.
plus
I mean, I got a 25 on my check, so
I'm actually a 27 on History.
Dang.
Oh, hey.
It is not in my book.
Okay.
the one book I've read.
Mhm.
Sorry, did Talon?
Yeah, I can do a religion.
Do you wanna go
12.
Okay. So we'll just say this collectively. You guys we can kind of say that your characters compare notes either now or after or whatever. The very basic understanding you have of sort of how the gods work in the world
You have the elder gods and the lesser gods. Lesser gods would be like Desfuna, sort of the children of the elders. They were not held behind the veil. They sort of inhabited the material plane or one of the other realms. So their power, they could influence the world more directly, but they're far less powerful than the elder gods. The elder gods are held behind it's called a veil. Basically, it limits their power. They can influence in small ways, but it takes a great amount of exertion for them to essentially like pass their essence, their power through the weave or sort of through the veil. And so the veil is meant to stop them from breaking the weave, like coming in and just doing unchecked to God things and like, rearranging the world. So they work through their followers. They can give their followers power. And so essentially, if a god needs to counter another god, they do that by, expending their energy to build up more followers to try and send them against those guys. And it's kind of, they can only do so much through those who follow them. If a god has no followers, they basically have no ability to influence the world because they can't pass their power on to anybody. There's no recipient for them to send their energy to, because they have to exert themselves to actually like puncture the veil essentially for a short amount of time to like, here you go, here's power, go fight.
So it's less about their power level being related to their followers, is that if they have little followers, there's little they can do, which in Umbra's case would mean an army of the undead is equivocally the same as having an army of followers.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Because then he would have unlimited recipients for his power. He could just be like, you get this, and you get this, and you get this, and you get this.
Theoretically, if the entire world were undead, he might be able to get that enough power through the veil, through that essence, that he could potentially pierce it and get through it.
So, what you guys did learn was that Umbra was trying to birth his essence.
Yeah.
In using those eggs, he was trying to basically birth his essence in this world, like on this side of the veil, so that he would be unlimited in what he wanted to do.
Do we understand when
Triskades wanted to do?
When Triskades wants to drain this world, do we understand what that means, like physically? Like, because you could say that, but like, what does that mean?
Is he after all the chocolate, or is there more?
I'd say that's beyond what you're able to.
Can we ask the dragon what that means?
At this point, so.
How does that work?
Just to clarify, just lesser god, elder god. So lesser would be Desfuna.
Yes.
And who is it that Torque serves now?
Well,
so Gothos he's one of the exceptions. So Gothos is an elder god.
Oh.
Who intentionally severely weakened himself by basically forcing himself through the veil, and he resides in his volcano, like in Tom.
Yeah, more of an avatar than anything else.
Oh, okay. So
he
exception every rule.
Focuses the majority of his power on keeping the Kraken imprisoned.
Presumably, any of the gods could do that. It's just that doing so basically neuters you to the point where you're, So Umbra would prefer to not do that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so Umbra is elder.
You basically like step off the throne and be like, I'm no longer an elder god. You're still an elder god. Gothos is still
you're still a very powerful being, but you are now effectively mortal, just very powerful.
Theoretically.
Yeah. Okay. Demigod-ish.
So Desfuna lesser, Umbra elder.
Yes.
Triskades
elder. Is like outside of that. Triskades is outside of that.
Triskades is
like his own thing.
Think of Triskades in the sense of like elder being, like Cthulhu, like other world.
Okay.
Dagon.
He's like one of the old ones.
Okay, so not in the same category as
giant space flesh beast.
As elder and lesser.
We've got Zeus and Hermes, and then we've got Cthulhu, right? Like that's
okay. So Triskades is Cthulhu.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Effectively.
In this analogy, yes.
Okay.
I'd say that Talon would probably Talon grew up in a temple. Like you would have learned about things like ascension, that it is possible for mortals or beings to attain sort of a lesser form of godhood. And even theoretically, if they were somehow able to obtain enough power to ascend to the height of an elder god, basically become an elder god. So it's not like an exclusive, you can only be an elder god. Like if somebody can gain enough power, if they can absorb enough energy or through some means, like theoretically they could become, or at least an equal of, an elder god in power. But
Okay.
where Triskades falls in all of that, you don't know. He's an outside force who is obviously trying to become more powerful and trying to eat chaos.
And powerful
So then
enough that even that Bronag was more concerned with Triskades than he was with Umbra.
Yeah, I'm going to assume Triskades is already, even being the weakest potentially of all of them, is still like a pretty formidable threat. I mean, I don't know.
It feels
if you
like
guys,
weakest is a relative term.
I was gonna say, I don't know how into Lovecraftian lore you guys are, but even the weakest of like the Lovecraftian elder beasts is like basically unkillable. Like they are beyond power. The power levels are like a foreign concept. I say we go forward with this and try to determine what exactly Triskades is trying to do. From Talon's perspective, like I need to know what Umbra is doing with Triskades and where Umbra falls in, because as far as I can tell, the world being destroyed is counterintuitive to a world full of undead. Like that's not the same thing. So I need to understand where that parallels and how they work together. That's what I would like to try to determine. And if the dragon knows anything about that, that would be incredibly useful. Because I think personally, and this can be something I'm saying in character, I'm fine with that. But I think personally that if that is the case, we have a higher chance of stopping Umbra first before we can even think about going after Triskades. And if that is indeed how things are going to go, we need to understand that connection and sever it. Or if we go the other route, which is we make them turn on each other by, there are multiple facets, but we need to know why they're working together, what Umbra gets out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what Triskades gets out of it. I don't know what Umbra gets out of it.
So you think our dragon host would have any information?
I feel like it's worth asking. It seems like we're on the same side. I feel like we are allies. I'm still quite terrified of this guy, but I do think that he hasn't eaten us yet. He has specified he doesn't intend to. I'm not sure I trust that, but at the same time, we have basically a free ask the DM chance here for everything, and we should use it.
So
yeah, we've been.
It's not every day you meet an elder being which knows everything.
We give him the lore bomb.
Yeah, Dinar
will do his best to
most things
to succinctly take everything that Talon has just expelled and ask, I guess, the simple question of, do you know why they're working together? What does Triskades get out of it? What does Umbra gain?
Triskades' motives are pretty straightforward. I think we all understand that. It's more so Umbra that we're confused about.
So Dinar will ask that.
Okay.
What does Umbra get out of this?
I can only assume that he has a plan within a plan within a plan. Not even other evil creatures would trust him too far. If he was working together.
Excuse me. That's hard to do. Jeez. Gotta work on my draconic.
Like dragging your throat across a gravel road.
Yep.
If they were working together, I can't imagine Umbra not betraying Druscades in some form down the road.
Fair point.
He only cares about one thing. His idea of perfection, a world without life, a world of undeath to serve him, and he would do anything for that. Druscades is equally as cunning, as deceptive, as vile. He has no interest in working with the gods of this world. He wants to consume this world. Perhaps Umbra lost sight of that. He is not who he once was. Perhaps he forgets what those from the void did. I do not.
So how do we remind him of this? We got to point these two at each other so they can worry about each other and not bug us anymore.
Well, we actually,
Saying we let them fight.
But yeah,
we potentially have a way in on Umbra's side. The problem is, without knowing exactly what they're planning, it's really difficult to plan around the plan that they're planning within plans.
Uh-huh.
Well, they already have a tenuous relationship, right?
Yes,
They
each one is
herald
what,
convenience.
I mean, we're looking in on the outside. For all we know, they are actively, aggressively hating each other. They're only they're literally on a hair's breadth away from war with each other. We don't know. That's the problem.
My question is, if these two were to come to blows with each other, would that necessarily be to our benefit, or is the risk of our world being caught in the crossfire too great?
Well, so my thoughts on that is, it's clear that Umbra versus Druscades wins. So from a pure survival perspective, Umbra allying with Druscades makes some sense because they're going to get a short-term gain out of that. And I believe that our dragon friend is probably correct in that Umbra will likely turn coat at an opportune moment. When that is. So presumably, if Umbra has a plan, we might actually not need to worry about Druscades. But on the other hand, if Umbra's plan is take my undead and go to a different world, because apparently those exist, then, great for Umbra, bad for everyone else. So this is why I'm saying, without knowing what's going on, we're kind of screaming into the void, pardon the term.
Bragg leans close. There is something you need to understand. You will not stop the chaos. The unraveling of the weave is the end result. Thousands of years of degradation of the Orduan. I fear that is what will be. Embrace it. If chaos is to be a part of reality as you know it, use it, embrace it, adapt, survive with it. Udora may not be the same down the road, but it will at least be here. If Druscades grows in power, there is no future. Don't fight the chaos, use it to fight him. You have to push him back into the void. You cannot kill him here. He is not of here. His essence, his being is something else. The void does not operate on the same rules of reality here. It is both everything and nothing at the same time. It is other. He is other.
So in order to defeat Triskades, we would have to go to him in the void and kill him there.
I mean, I feel
Destroy
like if
him.
he's not on Eudora,
Seriously.
we win.
Pretty sure we've discussed trying to stuff him back in the hole that he came
I was
from
gonna say,
closing the
this is-
hole.
This is like a two-dimensional creature trying to harm us. Like, it doesn't matter how powerful they are in their own respective dimension. They can't. Like, they just can't.
Yeah, but
So we focus on pushing him back, and if we get the opportunity to strike a fatal blow, then all the better.
Mike, if you want to Broxigar this, power to you. I will not be following.
I'm ashamed I don't know that reference.
No, I doubt anybody does, but
Okay.
I wanted to say it.
Maybe someone in the chat knows.
Chad, if you know what I mean, I love you.
Dinar will look Tayland right in the eyes. Look, I know that if we shove him back in the hole, there's probably another 1,000 years that this world continues before he can try to crack his way back in. But why would we stop at shoving him back in the hole if we can end this cycle permanently?
Look, I'm not saying if the possibility presents itself, we don't. But I didn't sign on to this. None of us did. We just happen to be here and happen to be the ones who are capable. And I don't really want the world to be destroyed because, I'm in it. So, and many other people are as well that I care about, like Flick. And, we got to make sure that these people are safe, and I agree with that. But I'm not a paladin setting out to save the world from evil, damned be my own skin.
Not in this game.
Not in this game.
Your tenacity is admirable, Captain, but given the circumstances, perhaps it is more realistic to think in terms of preservation over an offensive strike.
I'm not saying...
Make no mistake, if the opportunity comes to strike a fatal blow to Triskades, then I will be more than happy to seize the opportunity.
Torque will punch him in the face, no questions asked.
He wants to punch a god.
But no, I think our best bet is to focus on sending him back where he came from, and if in the process we can find something like a blade of entropy or something,
a law bomb to stick.
What was that? What was that weapon you can get in Planescape Torment that can kill gods? That thing. If we can get that thing, sure. But otherwise, I think we should just focus on sending him back from whence he came, or so help me.
Bronag, are you aware of any other dragons on this plane?
That's gonna be my next question.
Give me a moment. He closes his eyes and you see him kind of retreat within himself.
Interesting.
There's a bit of a like a pulse.
He's sending.
Oh, snap. Yo, that's cool.
He could be scrying. There's a couple things he could be doing to check on his buddies.
Yeah, I think I might know the answer, though.
A minute passes.
That's a long time.
2 minutes.
We just sit here waiting in the interim.
5.
Perhaps our next question should be, do you know why all the dragons are dead?
10 minutes.
I think that's long enough. Unless dragons are like Ents.
He finally kind of opens his eyes. I sense there is one. But he slumps.
Another.
There is shadow of a dragon, a ghost, an echo, a thing that should not be. Its mind is wild.
Perhaps not a potential ally, then.
I believe I am all that remains that is awake or alive.
Just our luck.
But
Oh,
there are others beyond. I will not speak of them.
You can see there's like actual pain. I'd say Denard, your physiology, you read it more than the others. You can see the pain in his face, like deep sorrow as he speaks of the other dragons.
Hmm.
The one that slumbers. Where is it?
East. I cannot penetrate its mind. It's troubling.
Given the opportunity to try to shove Triskades back in the hole he's come from, would you lend your strength to that fight again?
I am afraid I have no strength left to give, even if I wanted to. Nor can I leave this place. There is a reason I have not emerged for 10,000 years. For my part in everything, I was banished here. This is my temple, my palace, my prison, and it will be my tomb.
Dinar is going to take a deep swallow. You mentioned that 1,000 years ago, visitors came from Umbra seeking your essence.
Servants of the Dracolich, yes.
Dracolich, sorry.
But he served Umbra, was created by Umbra.
What would be gained from your essence?
The knowledge that I and my others had. I am the last me. I was not the only me. I don't expect you to understand. It is a thing of dragons of old.
And would that essence in any way help in the fight against Triskades? Understanding fully that you cannot leave this place.
You do not know what you ask, little dragon. And so for that I will forgive.
Oh, good.
It cannot be. It will not be.
Like, that sounded angry. What's Dinar saying? Do we need to shut him up?
Not all
Let's
of
see what he
me.
knows with this.
Not all of me were good. Not all of me serve the higher purpose. I cannot guarantee what my essence would bring were I to impart it, and I will not do that. We will speak no more of that dragon thing.
His body's just like tense at this point. You can see like every muscle, every fiber is just like not in like threat, like not to attack, but there's just like a tenseness, a stress, like an anger, and his whole body is just mirroring that. Like you see it physically. He's just like restraining himself. Anyone anyone who knows Great Worm lore will know
Yeah,
about
I was wondering if that's what you're referring to. I'm like, is this a Dragon Soul
Interesting.
situation? Ooh.
it.
Ooh. Ooh.
How devious.
So for meta purposes, yes, he's a great.
This is in a Chardalon situation.
Yeah.
Very cool. By the way, now that I know as a player that he's a great worm, I reassert my horror.
Abject terror?
Yeah, abject terror. Yes.
Dinar will, without turning his back to Bronag, will look at the group.
Just like a side eye, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In common.
Dinar, I think you might have ticked him off. You got to stop talking about that stuff, man.
Do I think that Bronag understands common?
Give me an insight check.
Okay.
Really, dude?
I'm just based on the fact that Talon's been speaking, do I get the sense that Bronag understands him?
Well, here's the question. Did he only respond to me after Flick translated, or did he just respond to me the moment I asked a question in common?
I don't know.
So
I rolled an 11 on insight.
yeah, so he was responding to like basically you would speak. We're assuming that Flick is interpreting, right? So
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't speak it back, right? I'm only relaying
back,
one.
yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
was interpreting for me.
So yeah, either Torque or I. Yeah.
So 11 on insight,
Yeah.
maybe.
All right, then
See,
Dinar
this
will.
is why everyone should just
I
learn
mean,
Druidic.
My passive insight's 15, so if I picked up anything just sort of without looking.
I will say for you, Dinar, you would know that Talon does speak Dwarvish.
Oh, but if he speaks common, he's going to speak Dwarvish.
I mean, I would assume.
My concern is that he has some kind of like true hearing or something. I don't know. He's an ancient dragon. For all I know, he understands everything.
Flick,
Yeah.
I'd say if you pause to think about it for a moment, anytime that Talon spoke, his eyes did like go
Yeah, he's got tells. Yeah.
and watch, and so
So let's not say anything.
he seems to be taking it all in.
I was gonna say-
He may only be speaking in Draconic, but
Yeah, because my question would
no
be,
assumption that he only speaks that.
even if he understands common, does he understand modern common? That would be
It's
my
been
question.
1,000 years since his last
So we're
visitor.
talking
Yeah.
slang is what you're saying. All right, it got
Yeah.
you covered, brother.
Dinar was basically just trying to gain an understanding
Does he speak Pig Latin?
Well, maybe he hears it like the
Thieves
video
can't,
that I sent you
maybe.
guys, the Iowa. I don't know if you guys watched it or not, but
So
Yeah, no, I think we can assume he'll understand just about anything we say.
So Dinar was just trying to assess if he felt he could reveal why he asked about the essence in the group. Since Dinar is not sure, he'll probably not. So looking at the group, Dinar will just ask, is there anything else you guys want here, or should we move on?
I mean, even if he can't lend physical strength, the knowledge would be great. If we could, like, sending this guy every now and again, that would be
we get
freaking
permission to
fantastic.
contact him.
Yeah, that would be great.
We'll add him to the group chat.
Yeah, something like that would be great. But I don't want to just be like, hey, are you okay with us randomly communicating with you? Or I don't even know if we can.
Can I get your number?
Yeah, can we get his number? Can we have a way to
join our
contact?
Discord?
Can we give him our sending stone? You know what I mean? Like, can we something like that? Because I have a feeling that we can ask all the questions we want and get the answers we want. But I mean, we're gonna eventually have more information, and rather than have to sail all the way back here, I would prefer if we could just ask. But I don't know what kind of wards are on this place, or if the dragon would even allow us to do that. So I think that would be our next course of action.
So, Bronag, is there any way for us to maintain contact with you once we leave this place? You are a dragon of immense power and wisdom magic. Is there a way that you can imbue us with the ability to communicate with you, should we gain new information or require something in our fight against Triskades?
Also, perhaps any draconic blessings or magics or any kind of any of that kind of stuff. I've read Fizzbands.
Loot pile.
Dinar will not translate Talen's
Obviously,
addition there.
yes.
Just what Dinar said, and then maybe more if it's positive.
Given the nature of my imprisonment here, there is only one way. It is dangerous for you. There is an idol in the room at the base of the stairs you descended.
We saw it, yeah.
You would have to take that with you. One of you bind yourself to it. A fraction of my essence dwells within it, but as I've mentioned, I am, well, to use the word that you used, fractured, but heavily so. There is danger that you using that idol would overcome your mind in unforeseen ways.
So this is not something I should use lightly or often.
I mean, I was under that assumption regardless of what the option was.
Well, yeah, we don't want to bug this guy when he's sleeping.
I created them in secret, poured myself into them as a way to keep touch with a few dear individuals over the years. Long have they been silent, so I can only assume that they are long dead. And the other three idols are lost to time.
So the whole thing where he said like he was splintered, let's say Dinar attunes himself to that idol. What can we expect? Are we expecting something to go from, is this like a scale of fractured, splintered, shattered?
There is no way to determine what to expect.
Oh, one of those. Okay. Sounds fun.
It's okay, Talon. I plan on taking this on
You
myself.
are inviting the void within in a intimate way, a strong way.
For anybody paying attention, Dinar actually gets a little bit of a smirk on his face.
So he should only use it when he's hammered.
No,
I don't
Talon.
want this.
It should be used with respect for the power and the potential threat that it is to its user.
Oh, then you should definitely not let me or Flick attune to it.
No.
I trust Flick, but yes, certainly you not. For when you get hammered, you will most definitely use it.
I
Drunk
would.
the dragon.
You
I would-
drunk dial the dragon. Hey man, I just want to say I love you.
I would
I miss you.
volunteer myself for this task, Captain, but considering previous encounters with mind-altering magic, I worry that volunteering my mind might be a bit of a liability.
I would also
mean,
say I think Torque's had enough of other creatures as essences.
Well,
he's at what, 3 now?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
We've already been the part of the demise of one god. We don't need to potentially threaten a second. If this thing proves more powerful than they can handle. Through Torque.
I can test which of you is most stable, so to speak.
You could test that, but don't worry, that is not a
Wow.
question.
With that, Dinar's smirk actually goes away, and he gets a death stare back at Bronag, like, how dare you even threaten to take that from me? He's not saying that out loud, but he's like, no, this is mine.
Listen, anyone who spends even 5 minutes with us already knows who the most stable one of this group is.
Yeah, it's Torque.
He's the most physically stable.
I was going to say, you can tip him over, but that's not
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's Paige, but anyway.
Well, that's true, yeah.
I don't know. I think Paige has a habit of folding under pressure.
Dinar is the only one who doesn't need therapy.
Oh.
He could use it, but he doesn't need it.
Take the idol. Make your choice later.
I guess what his testing method would be.
Just prepare yourself.
Oh,
Having the mind of a dragon connected to yours is no small thing. It was common once, well, more common. In fact, I believe there was a helmet created for such purposes. I'm sure it is lost to time. Maybe the dwarves know. If there are any of them left.
There are many dwarves left. They thrive in this world.
Good. It is their world after all. It would be sad if they were to be lost. Anyway, my friends, you must leave here soon, I fear. My stability wavers. I tax myself greatly speaking at.
Yep. No. Loud and clear.
Seek where the void penetrates this world. Incursion points. If you can find a way to stop those incursions, to seal them, remove them, limit them, it will not remove him from this world directly, but it will stop his influence, perhaps. There are those who will follow him, some willingly, some because they cannot help it, their minds are weak and they will succumb. The more followers he gains, the more power he gains in this world, the easier it will be for him to come here fully, to drain everything. Do that and you may have a chance.
Well,
That sounds like actionable advice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for all that you have given us, Brown Egg. We will not squander this opportunity or this knowledge that you have given us.
Good.
Rest assured it will not go to waste.
Dragonling. I will
Yes.
speak to you alone
Oh, good.
for a moment, if I may.
Dinar will turn and nod at Torque.
As you were, Captain.
Your friends may wait in the chamber beyond where the idol resides. I will not harm you. I have no ill intent. I give you my word. But I must speak to this dragon, kind to kind.
I assume Dinar is all quite chuffed.
Yep.
Big
Good
dumb
British
grin on
chuffed or
his
bad
face.
British chuffed?
Chuffed to bits. Yeah, Dinar will step as far forward as he can.
I'll hook Talen's arm,
Hey, what?
parade us out of the room.
You've got
Torvald-
ears in this place, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Torvald
We will
follow along.
take a short break, and we will come back and pick up the conversation between Donar and the dragon.
I'll get my popcorn.
We'll be right back.
Jeez.
See you shortly.
right, welcome back. So, as the 3 non-dragons of the party leave the room, leave the chamber, Dinar, you are left standing before Bronag.
Okay, I just want to quickly interject that you hear Flick's voice echoing back up the hallway saying, "Did you see the love light in Dinar's eyes? Right lizard finally came along. Not be thinking about Rosacea, the one that got away." And then the story goes on as they're walking away. They'll be busy.
Bronag just kind of looks at you for a second.
I'm curious if you would allow me to sense some of your memories. You are the only dragon, kin of dragon that I've seen in 10,000 years. I would know what has become of our kind, your kind, even just from your perspective.
It's all right with me. I will warn you that you might not appreciate what you'll see. I'm also only been on this plane for 45 years, so there's only so much to see. But
Little dragon, all experiences have value.
True.
I have seen nothing but this prison. I know nothing of outside. Whatever you have seen is more than I have in a long time.
Then, by all means, take a peek.
It's a bit more than that. You must give. I cannot take.
All right.
Come forward.
Dinar will.
He reaches out his talons that, like, one talon is larger than you are. And he just kind of places it on the ground in front of you. Kind of indicates, like, for you to put your hand on top of his. You can just, like, touch the edge of the talon.
Yeah, Dinar will reach out, place his hand on the talon.
Give me either a wisdom save. I'd say either wisdom or intelligence. It's your choice.
Okay. What am I good at? Intelligence, obviously. So I will go intelligence.
Okay.
So 12 plus 9, so 21 total.
Nice. Okay. There's a brief moment where you almost feel so overwhelmed by this dragon's mental presence that you just want to forget yourself. But you hold your own, and you don't really, it's not like you're thinking about your, like, you know, hey, what do I want to share? You just kind of feel this connection made where you've willingly connected dragon to dragon. There's something going on here, something ancient, something you don't really understand. But you do feel like something leave you. You feel like you're passing something on. You can't really explain what it is. And it's like a split second.
Mm.
And you get the sense just kind of innately that it's happened. And he kind of pulls back and he's just, huh.
As long as those who serve Verathon win out, I am pleased.
So you are aware that Verathon and Torpal are no longer serving together?
Yes. That was the saddest day for our kind. Our betrayal is... I cannot speak of that. He is out there, deep in the astral, banished in his own way, but he still watches, he still imparts, he still serves.
I can hear my dog over there. You're ruining it.
Do not abandon him. He has not abandoned us. One last thing, Dragonkind. Your companion, the human one.
What about him?
He is like me.
In what
He
way?
is here, but he is not here. He is... I'm not sure what I sense, but... You are all fractured, as you say, but... It is as if he is in two places at once. Both here and not. I don't quite understand it, but I don't know if he does. Be careful. For him.
You had mentioned that to give up your essence, you weren't sure which of you would overpower the other. Are you suggesting that my friend Tayland potentially has a dark side that could take over? Or is this different?
No. Not that.
Good.
It is not a light and dark, or good or evil. It's simply he is him, but he is half of him. He is... I can't explain it. I can't... I'm sorry, just... I sensed fear in him of... Well, me. I did not want to frighten him further with this right now, so I give it to you to pass on. He trusts you. They trust you. I hope.
They seem to.
They call you Captain.
Yeah, that was not my choice. But If it's what they need of me, then that's what I'll give them.
Very well.
Before I go, I feel the need to clarify my question earlier about your essence and what it might give to whoever was to take it.
Careful.
I know. You said we will not speak of this further.
And yet you pry. Ask your question. Dragon to dragon.
The things that we've encountered out in the world, the Triskades or Umbra or some combination of the two, have committed out there, go beyond any kind of reason, any kind of justice. If there were even a chance that we could end Triskades once and for all, if somehow, in that moment where we shove him back in the void, if I could take your essence with me and end this fight that you were part of all those millennia ago, I would do it. I don't ask for personal gain. I ask for the opportunity to finish what that monster started. I have seen him use people that we love, family, friends, in horrific and heinous ways to try to sway us against each other, against the light. Something that does that does not deserve to be banished. It should be killed. That is why I ask.
I applaud your courage, little one. But this thing you ask, I cannot do. You will find a way. I will help how I can, as long as I am sentient here. As long as I remain, if you take that idol, but that is all I have left to give.
Then that is what we will take. I hope it's enough.
As do I. When you return to the base of the steps outside, there's a crest much like the one that I am on right now. Speak the word Akaria, and it will rise and bring you back up to, well, you said it's a lighthouse. It wasn't always, but to wherever it is you came from above, it will take you back there. Good luck, Dragonkind.
Thank you.
Do our people proud. Now you must go. I feel unwell. I must
Dinar
rest.
Dinar will give a little bow and then walk back out to where the idol was. And assuming the party hasn't grabbed it yet, Dinar will take it.
While that was happening, what were you guys doing in the other room? Cutscene.
I presume we were listening to Flick's nonsense.
Well, technically, I was the one who got away. She made leaving hard. Herbs and bumps in all the right places, warts. Let me tell you, sweet on me, I don't know why. She came with some baggage. Namely, every rutting goblin in the camp wanted to get me out of the way to get to her. But oh, the things she could get me to do with just one glance from that lazy eye.
You think the reason that you ran away is because you had difficulties in regards to commitment.
I've got to say, Flick, I don't think I've ever heard someone use the words higgledy-piggledy so many times in such succession.
Hey,
It was
What
the
can I say?
Hercules for me. That was a disturbing amount of detail.
well, goblin physiology is a little unique, so you got to get. I need to explain things to make sure you understand the whole mechanics of the situation. So,
Do you need to explain though? Do you?
well, I want to make sure that you really appreciate what's been going on here.
Oh, here comes the captain. Captain.
Lord be praised, the captain has returned. Captain, we've missed you so dearly. Please come with us. Tell us all about your exquisite visitation with the dragon.
It is of the utmost importance that we focus entirely on this and not on any
Let's
any
get into
other.
the best part too. Anyway,
The
yeah.
urgency from Torque is probably like what gets you. Even Torque's like, please, let's go now.
Dinar will just continue walking. He will grab the idol off of the pedestal. And at Talen's question, Dinar will look back while still moving. You just needed to explain to me how to use this thing.
I need a Constitution saving throw from you, please, as you grab it.
Oh, of course. These are the ones that I'm great at, too.
He's just trying to be like this absolute baller. He just walks, just grabs it, doesn't even look, and he's like, no! Just falls over.
I will totally catch that thing if you drop it.
I rolled a 20.
Hey.
A 20?
20? I don't know. I rolled a 20. I rolled a natural 20, plus my 4 Constitution.
All right. There is just a brief moment of... The only way I can describe it is that you feel not real.
Okay.
For a very split second, like your very reality just kind of like, yeah.
For
And
about a
then you're
moment,
like,
you feel as if you are a strange
Oh,
character floating in the minds of other people.
Yeah, that's right. You almost feel like unmade for a second, or like reality just doesn't make sense for like this split second. Your mind just kind of goes, what? And your body
Foreign
too,
concepts such as Mike and cars.
your whole body shifts. Like your actual physical body just kind of like you feel it just like pulse through you, and then you're like,
I imagine in that moment maybe there's a stutter from Dinar as he's walking by.
yeah.
But then
You all right there, bud?
yeah, he mentioned that something like that might happen. Look, I know how to get out of here quickly.
You seem pretty nonchalant about that, knowing it was supposed to do something like that. You just trying to be super awesome?
Others try. Skipper succeeds.
Sure.
You don't have to try so hard to be a baller, you know. You're a pretty cool guy.
Dinar will give a side eye to Tayland. That's
you
never been your opinion of me, but all right.
I mean, you finally found something to do. You now have a purpose in life. It's great.
Wow.
You're the official dragon whisperer.
Internally, Dinar's like, we like Tayland. We're not going to yell at him and talk to him about how he's actually not fractured, but in fact splintered. Nope, we're not. We like Tayland. Okay, let's continue.
It's a defense mechanism.
Just the monologue.
He'll kind of wave his arm like, he told me how to get out of here faster than we got in, so...
Oh, I was going to
Follow
ask
me.
about that. As we were being let out, I realized, wait, we kind of we went down to get here.
Yeah, he has a way to get back out. He just can't use it, so... Follow
Oh,
me,
yeah.
I'll show you guys.
Cool.
Dinar will walk down to the platform that is similar to what he was standing on.
Anybody else noticing that Dinar seems rather hasty?
Well, given everything that we've learned, I think it's understandable to move with some urgency. After all, the threat of Triskades and what he represents is all that much more palpable now.
I feel like I feel like we didn't necessarily learn that Triskades is more powerful, so we had to just confirm our suspicions that Triskades was that powerful.
Well, if an ancient dragon sees him as an insurmountable
No. Great worm.
Devin knows that. Does Taylor
How could
know
a
that?
worm be great? They're very small things that live in soil, from what I gather.
Well, what I will say is that ancient doesn't seem to describe this being that has lived for over 1,000 years.
12,000.
10,000. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, 10,000 years. Ancient doesn't seem right.
That barely scratches the surface.
Alive longer than Illidan was trapped.
Well, the point is, I think that the captain's behaving completely normally given the situation.
Oh, he's actually decided to be terrified of the giant thing? Okay, then yeah, then everything makes sense.
There's really nothing to be terrified of, but sure.
Its single tooth is the size of a house I grew up in.
Pretty much, yeah. So the under the water where you guys entered, you can see that there is a circular sort of crest that's there. And Dinar, that's where he'd indicated for you to return to.
Once everybody is standing on it, with the idol under his arm like a football, Dinar will just speak to the ring on the ground. Yeah.
There's an instant glow just that emanates from under the water. You know, like pool lights that kind of come up. And the whole thing rumbles as you're standing on it and actually lifts. The circle of the platform like comes rising up out of the water. And just as a giant pillar just continues to just rise up and up and up. It takes you right to kind of the lip of that hole that was in the ceiling. Now, unfortunately, there's still about a 30 to 40 foot gap from where you're standing to the ladder. The rungs are kind of at the very top of the hole. It seems that perhaps in the past, when this was not in the ocean and whatever was here before, was supposed to connect, but so you're left with that, but it does take you up that far and kind of stops.
Well,
he said this would take us right back to the top.
I mean, certainly might.
I guess the question is it a 30-foot gap or a 40-foot gap? That'll make a difference.
I see no other way out of here. Seems that we have no choice but to proceed.
All right.
It does turn out to be
With a quick perception, it's like 30 feet. Yeah, it's closer to 30 feet. 32.5.
Unless anybody else has a bright idea, I do have a way to get us up there. Flick?
Yeah, I'm on it, Skipper.
What do you
Misty
got?
step up to the ladder. Drop a rope down to everyone else. All right, let's go.
That was less powerful than what I was suggesting, so thank you.
You were going to dimension door, weren't you?
I was going to fly, but
that
just
would
one at a
fun.
time ferry us up, but this is much easier.
Oh man, I want to get a personal ferry by the captain. Make me feel special.
Oh my God, it's like the Lois Lane in Superman.
Yeah.
Only so you can get the personal flight, but only if you read a poem during it.
No, it'd be more like in Spider-Man 2 when MJ is screaming the entire time.
All right, so you have returns to the lighthouse.
I know what it says about me that you said Spider-Man 2, and I was like, I don't remember that happening in the same.
Yeah, I wanted to just be to be succinct. I didn't want to.
Listen, there's been a lot of Spiders men over the years.
So Torque, you're telling me
A lot of Spiders men too.
that you spent 10 years on an island with like the last living dragon in Eudora. And you know, can you imagine if you had just decided to investigate this lighthouse while you were here? The stuff you would have known. We could have saved us so much time. Next time that you feel like, oh, I shouldn't do that, it's an omen, maybe just do it.
Well, you know, if you've ever lived in a town for a while and there's like a cafe, and then you go there for the first time after living there for years, and you think to yourself, why didn't I do this sooner? It's a little like that, I think.
I have felt that way about some things.
Talon, you seem to be forgetting why
types
Torque...
of liquor.
Talon, you seem to be forgetting why Torque was marooned on this island in the first place. There was deeper meaning here than exploration.
Yeah, but 10 years,
Yes.
I mean, just to pass the time.
There were also the reoccurring nightmares warding me away from the tower.
That'll do it
But
too.
I don't know. That sounds like a challenge to me, but maybe that's just me.
I had already been humbled by a god once. I did not intend for it to happen again.
Man, all I can say is, hot damn. That sure was a good idea to go back to your island, Torque. Oh, wow.
Yes, I feel like this brings us one step closer to our quest to defeat Intrascades.
I would agree. Rather than trying to kill him, we know that we can push him back through the void, or at least limit his influence by shutting down
Well, I
his
mean, in the grand
incursions.
scheme of things, that was always the plan. It's just now we know that it's possible.
We know it's a good plan. That's
Yeah.
We
important.
know it's a viable plan, I guess, is the... Yeah, before we were literally just like, man, I don't know, let's try it. And now we know that there is some legitimacy to it. We still are going to need allies, I think. We're still going to need to get some power behind our words, because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like that dragon could have taken us, and if we can't even defeat that dragon, we got some work to do. We need a super weapon. We need a big old MacGuffin.
We
What
do.
about chopped liver? Come on.
Yeah, you've heard.
One Vorpal bomb coming up.
Yes, yes. Can we
Not
have
even
one of?
sword, a Vorpal bomb.
Can we have one of those scroll of Tarasques, please?
Here's a thought, and I'm just proposing this as a hypothetical. So, Gothos, please do not strike me down for any potential blaspheme. But
You hear that, Goth? Don't do it.
what about a kraken?
Oh,
Are you suggesting that we somehow gain the favor of that thing that's tried to kill us twice south of the Iron Spire?
Do we need to gain its favor?
I
Is
just
it
pointed in the right direction.
intelligent, or is it merely a rampaging beast? Because if it is a mindless creature, then we could certainly steer it in a certain direction.
I think Torque might be self-projecting a little bit.
Mhm.
Maybe I need to work on some sort of creature teleportation. Find Triskades, teleport Cthulhu to him.
Oh, Triskades is Cthulhu, remember?
Battle of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Tentacles. I mean, look.
Listen, I'm the only one here making any sort of like hard suggestions.
I mean,
It's a work in progress, but
I'm with you, Torque, in the whole let's recruit a Kraken thing. But I mean, I feel like we have a higher chance of recruiting the guy who is holding back the Kraken. Although, I would, in saying that, I'm going to say that we should be very prepared for when we go to petition said being, that they says, oh, well, you know, I am too busy using my great awesome power to keep the Kraken at bay. And as long as that Kraken exists, I cannot spare any of my power. To which Torque will say, oh, yes, great one. I understand. We must go punch the Kraken in the face.
Gothos does have
gonna have to be our thing.
other avatars besides myself.
Yeah,
already met
I'm
one of
just
them.
saying, I think one way or another, there's going to be a Kraken in our future. And if we can convince Gothos that, I mean, if we can at least talk to him, he'll have a better idea of... If we can talk to him, we can go and tell him that he's doing a bang-up job, and that he should keep it up, and that I love storms. Storms are great. I can't get enough of them.
It's one of those things that if you mention his name enough times, he'll appear.
You need a mirror.
So you suggest then, as our next course of action, that we.
Well, that was always, I
position
think,
goggles?
I think that was always our like looming primary objective was.
Yes,
to do
I
that.
agree.
I'm a little less. I still think pursuing Umbra, in some sense, is worth doing, especially now that we know for sure like what exactly is going on between the two of them. Helping Umbra sucks, but it might be the only way we can learn what Umbra's true plans are, and if we can gain favor with the entity, with that deity, that might be our best chance of possibly learning that level of information.
Keeping your friends close and enemies closer sort of situation.
You want to work this guy from the inside, is what you're trying to say?
It's easier to stab someone in the back if they let you get behind them. And they let their guard down. And they you know what I mean?
In order to let their guard down, we have to be in their good books.
Well,
to a certain degree.
I don't like it.
No.
But I think it's an avenue we can follow. And hey, on the plus side, not being attacked by all the undead is kind of nice in the interim.
So is that the plan then, just to continue with our original course?
Those are the two major options. We also need to know where the void gates are.
We do. Because those are the incursions that we have to find a way to close.
I assume, yeah. I wasn't sure, but I assume that's what they meant.
Yeah.
So
onward to Easthold.
Well, we know we can do the Umbra quest fairly quickly because it's in the area. I believe Gothos is a bit further out, but not that far away.
He's quite a bit further. He's closer to Stormhaven, closer to Gungren Dwarves. So
he's way down south. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So if we're gonna do Gothos, that's gonna be a journey. And if we're heading in that direction, we better be prepared for Dinar's court-martial.
I was gonna say that's if we go south, we're gonna get dragged into Stormhaven.
Yeah. So I think I would vote for, because we don't know where the void gates are, right? Like we have kind of an idea. We know where some are, but we don't physically know.
You have a map of. You have in Silas's journal there were some listed, and then Min gave you the location of some as well.
Yeah, but they weren't like in this area though. Like we've already been to the ones.
We know where 8 of them are.
Yeah.
Valtier, Ivory Spire, Kias, Mount Firagasa, Stormhaven, Odan, Northhold, and the Barren Isles. We don't know the exact location of some of those. We know where roughly they are.
But in Disfuna's Rim, we've basically tapped out those ones, right?
And
that's where you guys are right now.
And we don't even necessarily know what to do
with
them.
Yes,
yeah.
We know where they are. We don't know how to close them or seal them or push stuff through them.
We have an avenue of information. What we really need is like we got to find more ancient beings that know about what's been going on, and Gothos is one of them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So whether or not we help Umbra, we are going to have to do that at some point before they're just like, you know what? Never mind. Like that window is only going to be open for so long, and I'm a little less gung ho about it than I may have been at first, but I still think it's.
Oh, starting to see reason is what you're saying. Good.
Well, it's more so I'm starting to see the big
Better late than never.
Let's just say that things are starting to get a little real.
You can admit that I was right all along. It's fine. I won't let it go to my head, I promise.
I don't believe you.
You're wise.
So that's my piece, but inevitably, Captain, you'll be plotting our course. I trust that you'll know at least what's best, and if for no other reason, then you're in contact with an all-powerful being that might know.
Well, not on the regular. It is risky to do that.
No, I wouldn't use that for this.
No.
I think the Umbra quest is something we can do in Disfuna's Rim, if I remember correctly. Whereas everything else is out of here.
Well, I believe we have to go to Easthold, which is not Disfuna's Rim. It's on the next island to our west. Sorry, not Easthold, Endhold, which is where we were headed originally with this stop at the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And that's where the priest that we're commissioned to go and take care of was
Last spotted in Endhold and
Yeah.
was headed like south or something.
We may as well finish going to Endhold and then start heading down to the Gungrim. We need to talk to Gothos before we can planning. I feel personally is not worth doing. We keep meeting people with all these lofty plans and maps and notes and all these things that they're doing, and what has it amounted to? A fat load of nothing. We can make plans as much as we want, but without power to back it up, we're just a bunch of guys again, and this time I do mean it, screaming into the void.
Yes, but all these little pieces are pieces of the puzzle.
You damn elder beings, get off our lawn!
Get off our world.
All right. Let's continue to Endhold. And we'll go from there. Maybe along the way, Torque tries to contact Gothos, and that can give us some insight into what, if or where we could go south to request
I think this
a
is
meeting.
worth pursuing.
We have a few days trek to Endhold anyway, so that we have plenty of downtime to try to contact Gothos or others of his avatars.
I will do what I can.
In the meantime, we'll hear more about Flick's family.
Can't possibly have that much family.
Ever tell you about Scurf?
I mean, based on the stories that we just heard, there might even be little flicklings running around that he's not even aware of.
All right, then. At your leave, Captain.
We'll walk back down to our little boat and row back to the Radiant Dawn.
Okay.
We'll pull up the anchors and continue our journey west.
Okay.
Into the west.
Call this a journey to the west.
Great song.
Da-da-dun, dun, da-da-dun, dun, da-da-dun, dun, da-da-da-da.
Different song.
That's a little too dour. It needs to be cheery. We're on the sails.
As you return to the ship and set sail again, is there anything you'd like to see to, either as a group or individually, kind of on the ship?
I think based on Dinar's suggestion, Torque will try to make some sort of contact with Gothos.
Okay.
Maybe after we've been at sea for a little while, Dinar is going to request that Tayland find some nice spirits down in the hold for the crew as a little bit of a celebration as we set sail for Endhold. And
Can do, Captain.
And when Tayland is gone, he's going to pull Torque and Flick aside into his quarters.
I think this is probably the first time we've ever seen Tayland skip to accomplish a task.
Spring his step all of a sudden.
And behind closed doors, Dinar wants to have a quick conversation with Flick and Torque. Maybe not quick, but he wants to have a conversation with Flick and Torque.
Okay.
Assuming they want to come.
My ears are wide open.
Have one whiskey, one port, and one rye. Bring me some cider. I'll give that a try. Bring me some rum, one buttered, one cold.
You wish to speak to us privately, Captain?
Yeah. Brown Egg shared some information with me that I wanted to run by you guys before we ran by who it affects the most.
You wish to speak to us, but not Talon about this?
For now, I would like your guys' insight into how we move forward with this information because it pertains to Talon.
He is really attached to Kissick. Give it to us straight.
So,
how long has he got?
That's actually a good question. So you know, Bronag talked about how he was not fractured, but more than that, how he finds himself here, but not really here. He likened himself to Tayland, saying that he can sense the fact that we're all fractured, but he senses that Tayland is as he is. Now, we've witnessed Tayland be not here, but here, but that's because of the wine, because of what he drinks. We've all seen him talk at nothing, as if there was somebody he was speaking to, but there was nobody there to be spoken to. Thoughts?
Oh, this would certainly explain some things in hindsight.
Either that or your Uncle B was just kind of admitting to you that he's also an alcoholic. But, could go either way, really, so...
I think if there was any booze down there, Talon would not have left without at least a bottle.
I don't remember seeing a swimming pool of Scotch whiskey while we were down there.
No, I don't believe there was. Talon would have smelled that as we entered.
Well, then the question remains, Captain, is do you think that Talon deserves to know this information?
Deserves is not really what I was
yes,
pondering.
we're going to tell him. It's how we tell him.
Yeah, it's more...
Deserve is such a strong word.
For me, it's not so much a...
What I mean is, you've brought us here. Wouldn't he be the first one to receive this information? I mean...
Well...
Unless it's just a matter of wanting to break it to him gently. In which case, I'm afraid I'm a bit blunt, if you've not noticed.
You are. And if this was information that needed to come to him, it would either be me or Flick, and I feel like Flick is perhaps better at sharing dark details with somebody if there's a need. You are more chummy than me.
If the beans need to be spilled, I'm your man, so...
My real question...
It's only a matter of time at this point. I will just let you know.
Both literal and figurative.
Well, yes, I understand. Now that
you've told me, you only have...
Now that the cat's out of the bag, the conversation that I really want to have is this information even useful to him? Yes, he deserves to know things that pertain to him, but like you saw Bronag, he didn't really know how to describe what this was for him or what it meant for him. Is this something that Tayland needs to know, or is it going to be something that is, yet again, another distraction?
Captain.
Yeah.
With all due respect, I don't think it's up to us to decide whether or not this information is useful to Tayland. I think that's something that only he can decide for himself. He has a right to know, either way.
It's insightful. And I agree. You guys often think that I overshare, so I figured it might be worth a little pass with you guys before I share it with the person that this could have a serious impact on.
I only say this as someone who has spent a lot of time trapped inside their own mind and is just now beginning to make their way out of it. Taylor should know what he's contending with.
For all we know, it will uncork something in him and he will have superpowers. Let him know. We'll be ready for the fireworks. We're braced. You're braced. You got this, Skipper.
All right. Should we just rip off the bandage now?
I see no reason not
Absolutely.
to.
Because they're
Okay.
delicious. But carry on.
In that case, then Dinar will pull out his copper wire and point down to the hold that he's sure Tayland is at.
Look, you've done entirely too much talking today.
Tayland, could you pause on the liquor assignment and join us in my quarters, please?
Gross. Gross.
Someone caught that. That's good.
Oh my gosh. Devin and I are both like,
Amber Hughes, not much that I wouldn't do for
I mean,
a
I
pint of
commented
ale,
on it
Stone
in
Cold
character.
Stout, beer goes in, strike it. What?
Is that him responding?
Yes.
Pull out the copper wire again, point down to Tayland. Get up here, you moron.
Maybe not the most gentle introduction to this sensitive conversation.
Trying to be nice to you, you idiot.
And I thought
I asked
I was
nicely.
the blunt one.
I asked nicely. He responded with, what? So, more direct.
Well,
The sound of bottles clinking together, followed by a crash and a large dwarvish curse word, precursors the entrance of Tayland into the room.
the curse word is sober.
What's everyone looking at?
Beardless.
Tayland, we just wanted to have a quick chat with you about something that Bronag said to me after you guys left.
Okay.
You know how he mentioned that he himself was fractured like us?
Yeah. Well,
More so
I mean,
than that.
it seemed more like he was splintered or something like that. I believe I coined a phrase that we're now
Yeah.
going to all use.
Sure, let's call it. So, you know, Bronag mentioned that he was splintered, that he felt that he was here and not here at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys left, he mentioned to me that he felt that you and he shared that same essence, that same ability, that same affliction. That you are both here and not here. That you are more than just fractured, but splintered, as he is.
Well, okay. Are you sure it wasn't just the fact I haven't showered in 6 days?
You smelled Bronag, right? I don't think he smelled you over himself.
Yeah, that's fair.
What does a 12,000-year-old dragon smell like?
Stumps for arms and he's oozing acid out of his mouth, yeah.
Caustic. So what? I'm some kind of special boy.
We're some kind of Suicide Squad.
I don't think that he was trying to make you feel special. I think that he was trying to suggest that perhaps what's happened to you is more serious than what's happened to Flick Torque and myself.
Well, that would certainly explain a few things, but it doesn't explain why you all have really cool disfigurations and I'm just me.
Flick was hoping that this was going to unlock some kind of superpower for you. This knowledge.
Well, I mean, the ability to move forward and heal is something of a superpower in itself.
True.
I mean,
Maybe this puts some things in some boxes for you to help you make sense of what's going on.
Sure.
Talon, as they share this revelation with you, give me a wisdom, call it a saving throw, but just a wisdom check. You're kind of sensing yourself.
That's a big ol' 7.
Okay. Their words start to kind of blur and become fuzzy, similar to when you're like really tanked, but
Just can't hear them over the sound of my eyes rolling.
But you're not quite there. But there's like a, as they mentioned that, there's kind of this pull where like things start to get a little bit fuzzy, and you kind of lose focus of like what they're saying, and everything around you just kind of, it's just more like, you just hear mumbling. Yeah. The three of you see like Talon's just kind of glazed over, and you see he's kind of just like,
would this cause all the bottles in my arms to drop?
probably.
No, great. Why do I bother?
And it lasts for a few seconds, and then you kind of like, and there's a split second where you got a vision of what looked like a void gate, like the same kind of structure of a void gate, but just completely surrounded by roiling clouds of orange and purple and blue and colors, just kind of almost like shifting through different like elemental colors, just completely surrounding it. It's just this platform hovering in the midst of this elemental chaos, and you just got this vision, and like you were standing there in the middle of it, and then it vanished as you kind of come back, and their words, so then they kind of come back into focus.
Well, cool. This isn't. What is this, like an intervention or?
Nothing so extreme. We just
Organized.
We just thought that you had the right to know, so that you could process accordingly.
Thanks. Still not really sure what exactly I'm processing, other than that apparently chaos likes me more than y'all.
Little put off by that, but I'm willing to cope.
You're not jealous, are you?
I mean, it has been.
He tries so hard.
I really do. It's been a sort of a constant back and forth, the two of us.
So what you're telling me is that in the arms race of who's the more chaotic gremlin character, I'm winning.
Well, you've been given a leg
We have
up.
we have an actual in-universe barometer for that, as it turns out.
There's an actual metric to go with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I appreciate you telling me. I suppose that has something to do with the whole veil thing, I would presume.
VALE, not VEIL, right? Just
Oh God. Yeah, that's going to be a thing,
fast.
isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's the whole bloodline and infusion of Umbra. And
you have fractured relatives, and therefore you have been born into the fracture.
something like that.
Whereas the three of us have earned it. Or gained it more recently.
I mean, perhaps it can be useful. Flick, you were hoping this would give me some kind of crazy superpowers.
Hope is not lost. We just gotta just focus in, delve in,
Well,
and
if I'm quote unquote chosen by the Ataxian weave, and its mark is upon me, perhaps it works two ways.
What are you getting at, Talon?
I'm saying perhaps
He's just
finding
he's
these...
gonna break the world. No.
I was me the whole time. Perhaps these void gates are not as hard to find as we might have originally believed. It's possible that I might be able to use this to tap into the chaos and try to navigate or piece together some of these puzzle pieces that we've been constantly finding.
That would be incredibly helpful.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I don't really know what to make of this information other than I guess just keep an eye out, because I don't really feel any different other than the fact that I am far too sober. Fear of dragon, that's a hell of a thing. It works better than coffee.
yeah, I think I'm gonna need a snootful to shut me down tonight too. You are absolutely right, my friend.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have a nice good evening. But before that, Dinar.
Yeah.
Captain. Rainbow clouds mean anything to you?
Rainbow clouds.
Yeah.
Code word.
Do those mean anything to Dinar? They don't mean anything to Mike.
Give me an Arcana check.
I'm good at Arcana.
How much do you know about Carolot?
Carolot? Is that like a Care Bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not a lot. I have an 8 to Arcana, but I rolled a 3, so 11.
Mhm.
At the moment, you have no idea what he's talking about.
Sorry, Tayland, I am not sure what you're talking about.
Drink for thought, then.
Drink for thought?
Yes.
Like food for thought, but with booze.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
As in drink and stop think. That's my new motto.
Sure.
Some say I drink and I know things. I say, why continue? Drink. It's too hard to know things after the first part.
I drink till I don't know things.
Yeah. Don't think. Drink.
Well, I think
Okay, this is not a motto for anybody watching. That's just
No, I was going to say,
not offering advice
we do not
for
endorse
the world. That's-
the,
Yes.
the belief systems of Talon Wavesinger in any way, shape, or form.
Satire, parody, satire.
correct. Yes.
Well, to your point, Tayland, I believe that maybe a mild celebration perhaps is in order for the night. We did discover that there is not, or that the dragons are not extinct, that there is yet one. And that's worth drinking to for the night. Hey, the impossible proved itself possible today, so
I suppose that's a fair point.
I'll drink to that before we set sail.
Heck yes, you will. I got this new invention I've been working on. I call it a TPK.
Well, thanks for joining our campaign. That's the end, guys.
As in, you only need one to kill your party.
There you go. We will pause it there. We'll pick up next time with Torque trying to contact Gothos. And as you guys continue your voyage on to Enhold. And yeah, we will see what the future brings for the party, the crew of the Radiant Dawn. Until next time, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thank you so much. Please check out our link tree for links to all of our socials. Catch our VODs on YouTube. You can listen to our audio versions as well. But follow us on Twitch if you haven't already. And we will catch you next time. Happy gaming, everyone. See you later.
Have a good night, everybody.